mentor was a man by the name of Chuck Stone, who was a columnist at the Daily News in Philadelphia at the time. I had no idea what a giant Chuck Stone was until many years later. He had been one of the key editors in the Chicago Defender. He had been a press secretary to Adam Clayton Powell. He had been the first president of the National Association of Black Journalists. And all this had happened long before I ever met Chuck Stone. And he took me under his wing, and he taught me how to challenge my management as well as our readers, and to always push the envelope, but always stay true to your principles. And there was another guy at the Philadelphia Daily News at the time by the name of Pete Dexter, a wonderful, wonderful writer and columnist, but a little bit lacking in his understanding of racial minorities. But he was a great writer, and he was a maverick. And Pete Dexter inspired me about what a columnist could be like. I'll never forget the time that some person in Philadelphia, I forget his name now, was feeling aggrieved by his lawyer, who had never responded to his phone calls, always avoided him, then settled some case that he was representing the client on, and in a terrible way. And so the client went to see his lawyer, and the lawyer kept saying, his secretary kept saying he wasn't in, he wasn't in, he wasn't in. And then as the client is going out in the elevator, he sees the lawyer exiting through a back door. The client angrily pulls out a gun and shoots his lawyer. So the next day, Pete Dexter, who was a humor columnist as well as a maverick, wrote a column that began something like, "John so-and-so did yesterday what millions of Americans have always dreamed of doing. He shot his lawyer." So I said, damn, you could say that in the newspaper and get away with it? So I was hooked on becoming a columnist, and I eventually did. And but I also understood the importance of, and it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do is write, not manage or do all the other stuff. There was a great columnist at our paper, Mike McAlery, who won a Pulitzer Prize for exposing the Abner Louima torture, the police, the rogue cops who tortured Abner Louima. And Mike was a very good friend of mine. Mike always had a saying, "Juan," he'd tell me, "there's only two types of stories worth writing. The types of stories that put criminals in jail, and the types of stories that get innocent people out of jail." Now, I would always smile and say, "Mike, you're younger than I am. You haven't been through the things that I've been through. And you don't understand that the greatest injustices in the world are committed under the cover of the law, not in violation of it." And I've always tried to devote my reporting and my writing to those abuses that may be technically legal, but are morally reprehensible because they take advantage of people who don't have power, don't have connections, and don't have the ability to have their stories told. And that is what I have tried to do. That's what I've tried to do for the past 30 years. And as a result, you've seen the fantastic work that's been done about our legacy, the legacy of all of these journalists who preceded us, who deserve to be in our Hall of Fame, long before many of us have deserved to be, have that kind of recognition. They're finally beginning to get it now, and through the work of Felix Gutierrez and Professor Flores and the others, they'll finally be recognized. But I think what we've got to come away with, and this is my lesson, especially for the young people that are still here, the most important thing about being a great journalist is not how well you can write a story, although that's important, or do a live shot, or edit, film. It's not how well you can do an interview. It's not how well you can lay out a page. The most important quality to be a great journalist is to have courage. Courage is the most important thing.